If you're stuck in a dead-end life and not sure how to get unstuck, then today's guest might just be able to help you get out of your own way, put yourself out there, and become who you want to be. Please give a counterculture-wise welcome to self-development coach, motivational speaker, and founder of Envision Results, Marnye Moore. Yay! All right, Marnye, let's start off by you telling our listeners how they can find you on the interwebs.
I talk to everybody through Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and everything is at Envision Results. Very easy, the same
Very
name
easy
everywhere.
to find.
Good name.
All right, what kind of things do you post on Instagram? I love Insta. We do mostly cat pictures.
There's an amazing number of cat videos and cat pictures on the internet, but the stuff I post on there is stuff to maybe help you think about how to get through a problem or why you might be stuck or something that might be motivational or inspirational.
Okay, awesome. So if you want a little dose of inspiration, head on over to Marnye's Insta at Envision Results. All right, well, let's just start right at the top. You were an executive assistant for many years, and there's a whole story behind how you went from doing that to doing what you do now. So go ahead and tell us the story.
Thank you so much. So I, like Melanie, you said that I was an executive assistant for a lot of years at a very good company. I had a very good job, and I was very bored out of my mind because I wasn't growing. There was no promotion opportunity, and I just was stuck, and I didn't know how to move. And I needed help. I just didn't know what it meant I didn't know how to get a different job. I didn't know how to get a promotion. I didn't know how to change the job that I was in. And so I needed somebody to help me. And so one day, on a whim, sitting at my desk at work, cruising Facebook, I hired a personal coach.
Wait, you had a job where they let you cruise Facebook?
When you're bored out of your mind and you're sitting in an office all by yourself, you do what you want to do. The work was getting done. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so that's what I did.
After 10 years, it was so easy. You could probably do it in your sleep.
Yeah. After 10 years, I could stay home on the days that I wanted to. It was a really good job, but I wasn't going anywhere. And I really, really needed something new to do and something more because I quit growing. And if you're not advancing, you're retreating. If you're not growing, you're dying. And that's true for every relationship in the world, whether it's you and you, or you and a partner, or a job. If you're not growing, you're dying. And so I needed something new to do. I hired a coach, and she said, we can get you out of this rut. And the first thing we're going to do is just talk to you about you. And you're going to have to come to terms with the idea that you want something more to do. And we're going to start moving you toward that. And so I stumbled through this whole program, and I went, oh my God, this was stuff that I should have known, but I didn't. And when I realized it was okay not to know, and I could ask for help from somebody else, then everything became so much simpler. And as I went along, it was like, you know what? I think I could do this better, or at least differently. And so that's what I started doing. I started working with people one by one to help them get out of their own way, to get something done, to be the person that they really wanted to be, so that they could find that ease and flow and something interesting and a reason to get up in the morning, as opposed to sucking their thumb and crying in a corner.
Offline, before we started I call it pre-op, but I'm sure that's not what it's called. You briefly mentioned how you came to the discovery that all these people saying that they did it themselves. Oh, yeah. I mean, self-help is like a huge section in the bookstore, and you learned a little differently.
I did. Everyone feels like they should be able to read a book and do the job, or they ought to be creative enough to solve their own problems. You know what? And if I'm meant to do that, I will know how to take care of it automatically. And the truth of it is you don't. You don't know what you don't know, and you need help. There's no prize for being a solopreneur.
Yeah.
Anybody who has created anything of significance in this world has not done it alone. They have hired a team. They have brought people to them to help them make it to the next step and the next step and the next step. That's the way you get it done. You just admit to yourself, one, you need help. Two, you don't know.
Isn't that funny how it takes a certain amount of humility to boost your confidence? It seems so counterintuitive. Is that like the number one thing you really have to break your clients through?
Yeah. At the point that they're willing to talk to me, they're just about there. They just need that push over the top to say, yep, We can do this. I went to an investment conference not too long ago, and there was a woman there. She's a nurse, palliative care nurse, nursing home,
Mhm.
palliative care nurse. And
I'm
she
glad you
is
said nursing home because I immediately thought dinosaurs. Well, I guess that's almost the same thing. Oh, stop
very,
it.
very close. Yes,
Ow.
palliative care. And so,
That was a
anyway,
flex statement.
I know her, and she and I have connected a few times. And there was 150 people at this conference, and she did not like me talking about what it is that I'm doing now. And so she looked right at me and she said, "We don't need you here. All
What?
of us are very successful the way we are. We don't need you."
You know, the minute you start telling somebody that you don't need them, that's probably when you do.
Don't you think? I was
Yeah.
like, wow, that's a really big statement for 150 people you don't know.
Yeah.
But thanks for
Yeah.
the thanks for the feedback there, girlfriend. Anyway,
Wow.
yeah, once you figure out
So
that
how's
you
she doing? Is she like super duper successful and doing fantastic? Are we seeing her on the news? Is she making
she's not
records? I'm
seeing her in
assuming
the
she went
news.
on.
She could use some help in a lot of areas,
Yeah.
but
But you can't. You know you can lead a horse to water.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she could use some physical fitness. She could use some TLC. She could use some general self-love. So she funnels all of her energy into investing. And that's all that she focuses on. The kids, the husband, she's
Oh,
retired, her physical fitness, her diet and exercise, everything goes into this. And
she
that's a
doesn't have a
problem.
holistic view of her life, which is why she's unhappy.
Yeah, she's got this angry chip on her shoulder, and she's one of those people that feels like she should be able to read a book and conquer the world. And she can't. Most of us can't. We need some sort of accountability. We need somebody to talk us through the stuff that we don't know. I'm here to tell you, you don't know what you don't know.
No,
And if
that's so
you're not
true.
Right.
working with other people, you are never going to learn more than that.
That's true. I
Because
actually want to talk a little bit more about this concept of accountability. I was, perusing your website and your Facebook, and you mentioned connecting with women who are looking for support and accountability, specifically women.
Mhm.
And accountability, it just seems so rare these days. In fact, victimhood is so in vogue that personal accountability is almost a swear word.
Yes.
So I'm wondering how you navigate that field with your clients, because it, like we were just saying, it takes a certain amount of humility in order to be able to ask for help.
Yeah. Um, Accountability is that thing where I'm right behind you. When I was in my teen years or my 20s and I had a roommate, I noticed that I could conquer the world. I could do anything if I had a wingman.
Mhm.
So I'm your wingman. 2 a.m. If I wanted to bake a cake, she was getting out of bed too, and we were going to go to the grocery store, get what we needed, and bake the cake. If I needed to talk to a
Who
stranger,
bakes a cake at 2?
you're missing out on a whole bunch of stuff. Did
Man,
you see what I
never
made for
dated
dinner?
wait, and I'm shopping at 2 in the morning.
Did you see what I made for dinner?
Oh, that's right. You told me you made cookies for dinner. Oh, skinny people. Uh,
Anyway,
I think I gained weight just listening to you talk about your cookie.
they're really good. I could
I
tell
bet
you the
they are.
recipe. It's really, really good. Anyway, what I noticed is that I could do anything if I knew that somebody was behind me.
Hmm.
And that's the accountability. If I knew that somebody was going to ask me, so how'd that go and why didn't it go? That was the accountability. It's like going to college and never going to class. You know what? You need somebody to say, I want to see that you did the work. I want to know that you've applied what it is that you've learned.
Hmm.
And when you can start applying what it is you've learned and you start getting the practice of doing it again and again and again, that's when everything gets easier. Everything in life is practice, folks. Breathing, eating, pooping, tying your shoe, running, walking,
Yeah, yeah.
making a decision, getting something done, going to work every day, putting your clothes on every day. It's all practice and it's all habit. So let's take advantage of that and reprogram yourself to do the things that you want to do and be the person that you want to be so that you can accomplish everything that you ever thought you wanted to do. That's the accountability. For years, I did direct sales, skincare and cosmetics, makeup,
I
skincare and cosmetics, and jewelry.
stink at that. So that is a
Me
special
too.
field that I
I
do
wasn't
not
good
excel
at it
at.
either,
Yeah.
but I couldn't ask for the sale. I have learned to do that since, by the way, because everything is about sales. If you want a job, you're going to have to say, I'd really like to work for you. I think I'm the best person for you. And this is
Right.
why. That's what you do. You meet somebody, hi, I'm the person you want to know because I'm funny and I've got this going or that going. It's all sales. So if you just think about what's the problem you're trying to solve, then you can get there. Okay, that said, direct sales was really easy. I had somebody that took me to their parties. I saw exactly what they did. They told me to go do this. We would do it together, and then they would come with me to my parties until I was ready to do it on my own. I had accountability. When I hired my coach, she gave me a done for you program and said, call me if you get stuck. And
That's not coaching.
That's not
it's
coaching.
not. And I like this woman. And so I've stayed connected with her. And I had the opportunity to call her once a week. I'd make an appointment to call her once a week, but it wasn't the consistency that I needed. And I wasn't disciplined enough to seek out that consistency. So a lot of failure, a lot of falling on my face, skin, knees, tears, blood, sweat, and tears, all those things. I finally figured out that that's what I needed, was that accountability. And so I'm the person that women who are like, I'm just really not sure what I'm going to do here. I really don't know what to do. I've got a whole life around me and I just can't let that go because somebody might think I'm not doing something for them. And this is a female thing. So Jim, bear with me for a moment.
I'm just enjoying. I
Jim's
want
often more
insight.
of a girl
I do.
than I am. When it comes to like shopping or, things like that, he's way more of a girl than I am. So it's kind of funny how often our roles are reversed.
Well,
Really?
still, I'm going to learn something today. So
Can't hurt.
it's probably
It can't
best that
hurt.
for once I keep my big yap
Yeah.
shut anyway. So
Well, jump in and ask questions.
Jump
along the
right
way,
in.
though.
Of
Don't
course,
worry.
I
I
plan
don't
to.
bruise.
I mean, Jim is another example of someone who pursued his dream and completely stepped outside of what he was doing before. I mean, we packed up and moved to Vegas, and he ended up on stage in Vegas. I mean, he was spinning his wheels in Seattle, and then he was performing on stage and film in Vegas, and then of course Corona took all that away. But he did it. He got out there. But like you said, they're at that point where they're just at the precipice, and you just need to shove them. And that's what I did with him. I said, we're moving to Vegas. He's like, okay.
I know,
So-
you know what? Sometimes it's the shove. Sometimes the best things come out of the worst things, right?
Yeah.
You get
Right.
your heart broken and you finally realize that what it is you need to do.
Yeah.
So, what was I talking about? These women needing accountability.
Accountability partners and
Yes.
coaching. So you had
Yeah.
a coach that basically said,
Yeah.
here's the book, knock yourself out.
Yeah. It
Which
was
anybody
kind
can
of
do.
that.
I
But
can
you
go
could
to
have
the
gone to Barnes and Noble and done
right
that.
now. Not a sponsor.
Just
we'll
about,
take it
just
in a
about.
heartbeat. And grab a book and yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so to be fair, I had video programs and there was there was like a weekly group call, but there was nobody just keeping me moving forward. Nobody that was really holding me accountable except me. And I didn't have the discipline and I didn't have the habit to do it. So I had to make a lot of mistakes until I finally realized this is what I need. I need accountability. I need somebody who's back there going, move, get it done. Why didn't you do it? I want to know what your problem is. And in that conversation of why didn't you do what you said you were going to do, that's where you come up with your self-discovery. That's when you start really becoming aware of who you are, what you really want, and listening to the voices in your head. Yes, folks, I want you to listen to the voices in your head. And
The nice ones, not the ones telling you you're a dismal failure and you're fat and stupid and your mother dresses you funny, but the one that's saying, okay, stop procrastinating and get something done.
right.
It's tough love.
Right,
It's tough
it
love is
is.
what it is.
And it's difficult, and then women have this thing. This is where I was going until I started talking to Jim. Okay, women have this thing that we are raised, or maybe it's genetic, or maybe it's in our anthropological history, who knows, that we are supposed to be taking care of everybody out here. We're supposed to be doing all this, and we're supposed to take a back seat. We're not supposed to be out front. We're supposed to make sure that everybody else is taken care of and taken care of and taken care of. And if we do anything that brings the light on us, oh my God, we are being conceited, we're being demanded, we're too showy, and somebody is going to be let down because after all, we're just supposed to take care of everybody else.
Or you don't get that judgment and like literally everything falls apart because you're not hyper focused on taking care of everybody around you. It's either or.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you're called pushy or bossy or whatever.
Yeah.
And we got to get to the point as sisters, we got to get to the point where somebody calls you pushy or bossy, you say, thanks, moving on.
Got this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Step aside, girlfriend, because I'm coming through and I'm wearing
Yeah.
high heels. So move.
No, I'm barefoot. Get out of my way. I'll walk right over the top of you.
That's exactly it. So when women finally get to that point where they're like, something's got to give, the first thing that we have to tackle is life. Your kids are going to be fine. Your husband's going to be fine. Your partner's going to be fine. The house is going to be fine. You're going to start doing the things that you want to do. And when you start doing the things that you want to do, this is when you get that magical thing called the law of attraction and manifestation. And I want to say those things very carefully. Some people get twisty over them, and other people are happy as a clam to embrace those phrases. But when you start doing the thing that you want to do because it makes you feel good and it makes you feel fulfilled, and you're moving towards something that you actually want, it's not as if you're working, you're doing the thing that you want and everything starts coming to you. That is ease and flow. When you're getting up every morning and going, you know what? I am doing the thing I want to be doing. Whether it's going to a corporate job, taking care of the kids, or starting a new business, I don't care. But what's the thing that you're thinking about all the time that makes your heart sing? That's the thing that you're
what
moving
feeds
to.
you? What feeds your soul?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think so many people are, I mean, I don't want to go into religion or anything. I don't know where you stand on that. But what I've noticed are people are trying to compensate for that God-sized hole with all these other things, the sex and the drinking and all the crazy stuff. And it's like, okay, but you're still not happy. You're saying, oh, this is where I find my happiness, and dyeing my hair blue and piercing things and sleeping with anything that moves. And it's like, but you're still not happy. You've got creativity, you've got intelligence, you've got relationships. There's so many other things that you can focus on. So how in our society that is all about instant gratification, and we've gotten a little bit hedonistic as far as people's pursuits and what they think makes them happy, how do you steer people in the right direction? I mean, at some point you've got to say, no, hun, your polyamorous, drunken state is not making you happy. Plus, you're not building anything. You're not learning anything.
Yeah.
Are there, come to Jesus moments that you've had to have with any of your clients where you just say, this isn't doing it for you?
Yeah.
What do you really want?
Yeah.
And what happens in that moment? Do they smack you? Do they give up on you? Or, I mean,
a couple have given up
yeah,
because they've gotten their feelings hurt. And I respect that.
I don't. Bunch of babies. Get over yourself.
I can be a pretty strong force to be reckoned with. And so I got to remember to shut my mouth when I need to shut my mouth and just let people do. 9 times out of 10, if you can start the conversation and get somebody just to start thinking about thinking and being and the little voice in their head, they can pretty much get there on their own. Sometimes, so you got to call a halt to it and say, look, this is not working. You have got to get focused on one thing and one thing only. And the thing that you need to be focused on is you. And a lot of people take that as, well, I should be able to do anything I want, and my life is always going to be happy and nothing's ever going to be sad. No, there is going to be ups and downs. I beg your pardon?
That's not how life works. It
Life
simply
does
isn't.
not. And they need to know that they're going to be up and down. And you have to experience emotions. A lot of people don't want to experience sadness and loneliness and tired and anxiety. But when you can go, okay, this doesn't feel good, but you know what? I got my feelings hurt. I really wish the situation had gone this way. Moving on. You have gained a new skill. You've started dealing with your emotions, and you can start moving toward the thing that you really want. One of the things that I ask people to do is just start moving, just start doing something different. Let's just put this thing that seems to be in the way and start doing something different. Take an art class, go for a run, go for a walk, join a gym. Yes, you can work out at home, but I want you to join a gym and go be around people.
Meet, network. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have lost the ability to do that, and COVID made it worse.
It did. It did.
Well, it's so easy to just get on Facebook and.
Yeah. I mean, even just places like church or Toastmasters or the Eagles or Elks or, whatever. It's like people don't meet in person anymore. And we need that as a society. Yes. We need that so much.
Yes.
And folks have got to relearn. It's like they got to come out of the cave and wipe the sleep out of their eyes and look around and touch grass.
Oh my God.
I have a question, and I'm not sure if I'm not even sure if it 100% relates to what you're talking about, but there are a lot of people who have a base belief that they have to look out for other people and pay no attention at all to themselves, because to do so is ungodly or
Yeah.
or I don't want to use the word unchristian, but that's
Or
what occurs to me as a
unfeminine.
Christian.
We
That's
want
what
to,
occurs
as
to me.
women,
But
we want to take care, and it is
yeah,
innate. It is part of
yeah.
our psyche, but it's also a little bit societal.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to me like we never find a balance. It's either I am 100% codependent, taking care of everybody all the time and not meeting my needs at all, or I'm an absolute witch who hates everybody and I only care about myself. And neither side of that you're happy. Neither
Right.
side of that you're happy.
Right.
And I mean, I know it's a cliche, but the oxygen mask principle,
Mhm.
you've got to take care of yourself first, or
Mhm.
you're no good to anybody else. And I
Mhm.
don't know why that's so hard for people to understand.
Yeah.
And
Because if
even
we're
knowing that, I
yeah,
don't do
if
it.
we're taking care of ourselves, we're being selfish and we're ignoring other people. And
Right.
who's going to take care of my kids? Okay, so this is what I tell everybody. What if you led by example? What if you did for you and treated yourself the way you expect other people to treat you? What if you took care of yourself and in a way that showed other people that you have respect for you and you expect respect in return?
Isn't it Eleanor Roosevelt who said, "You teach people how to treat you"?
I think that's right.
I
Yeah.
think
And
you're
she
right.
also said
Yeah.
you have to do the thing that you you have to do the thing that you fear. And
Yes.
that's true. You have got to stand
Mhm.
up for yourself. You've got to be the one that shows other people how to treat you. So what if you started knocking it out of the park? And instead of being a full-time mom at home making peanut butter and jelly, nothing wrong with that. I eat a lot of PB&J. Why not hire a nanny part-time and give somebody a job? Give your kids a chance to interact with somebody else so that, by the way, they learn how to be polite to someone else,
Mhm.
and you continue to build your legacy.
I like the
Yeah.
part-time idea, because
Mhm.
when I think of a nanny,
Why
I think
not?
of a mom just not being involved in their kid's life, and kids need
No.
that so desperately. But the part-time thing, that works for me, because then you get your space, they get their space, and like you said, they learn to interact, or play groups, or you know
Or
uh,
you can
day
detach.
camps or whatever. But I find that so many parents just toss their kids in preschool and forget about them, like
Mhm.
there's got to be a balance. So I
What
like that
about
idea.
hiring a housekeeper and
Oh,
getting
if
some
I
help?
could.
I know, but I mean, that's just it. Why
Mhm.
not lead by example and hire a housekeeper, give somebody the opportunity to have a job while you focus on the thing that makes your heart sing? Why not do that? There's nothing wrong with it. You're giving somebody else a job, but you're leading by example. You're showing your kids, your family, your friends that this is how you manage your life.
Mhm.
Rachel Hollis is an author, a blogger, an Instagram famous person, and she caught a lot of flack when her followers, her millions of followers, figured out that she had a nanny and a housekeeper and a gardener to manage this $3 million empire or $2 million empire, whatever it was. And she got
You have a
flack for it.
$3 million empire. Why wouldn't you?
Well, exactly. I mean, she needs the time to do the thing that she's really good at. And that's build this empire. She's home every night. She cooks dinner for the kids, or she pulls out whatever the personal chef put in the fridge. She cooks it. They sit down together. They're still having family time. She takes her son to karate. And while he's practicing, she's on her laptop going through her email. She's multitasking because she can sit there and stare at him, or she can do this too. He has mom. She's part of it. And yet she caught a lot of flack. And I thought, you know what? God bless her. She is making
Yeah. And
making waves. She's making something.
she's making something of herself. She's doing good for the world, and she's still taking care of her family. And she's probably
Yeah.
catching flack from people who let the government raise their children.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to touch that one, but perhaps, school is one of those things. There are a lot of parents that need the help. I get that. Um, but but why not bring these people into your team? This is
Right.
creating the team. All the
Right.
people that help you get stuff done is part of your team. Maybe it's your mom. Maybe your mom is living 2 doors down and she can help you with the kids. That's great. So how is that any different than hiring a nanny? Oh, do tell me.
Right.
Yeah. I
Right?
mean,
Valid
my
point.
grandmother
Valid
had a
point.
huge influence on my life. I don't know
Absolutely.
if I would have even turned out sane without my grandmother. And I it saddens me to see society that has turned away from their elders and don't get the full family experience. And I mean, there's single moms, and you know, every time a friend of ours moves away and it's like, I'm going to miss you and everything, but they tell me they're moving away to be with their grandchildren, my heart just skips a beat. It's like, that's how it's done. That's how we do that, you know?
It's
And
been happening a lot lately with a lot of our friends.
yeah,
Has
I
it?
think
Yeah.
folks are starting to really realize this is more important than anything else, is family relationships, taking care of yourself.
Mhm.
And I think we're starting very slowly steer back toward that. So yeah, the balance. How do you balance being gentle enough with your clients, but still bold enough to kick them in the booty when they need it? I mean, does it feel like you're walking on eggshells, or are you just like, no, this is the way it's going down? Do you make them sign an agreement before saying, okay, you can't sue me for over motivating you?
I'm assuming this is not a one size fits all approach.
Yeah.
It isn't, you know. So all of the coaching that I have done to this point has been one-on-one. And it has been with people who are familiar with hiring a coach. Okay. So once you learn that any investment you make in yourself is going to be your very best investment, and it's going to pay off tenfold each and every time. Then
that's what I tell Jim every time I get a pedicure.
That's so true.
It's medical.
I call that therapy. Yeah. I call that therapy. Okay, I'm good with that.
Yes.
No, so everybody kind of gets their own thing, and before I work with anybody, we have a conversation or two, so that they know that, one, I'm not a wilting flower. I'm not going to pull my punches too terribly often, and I try my very, very best to just step back and listen. A lot of people just need to be heard. And I was one of those people.
So true.
Just hear me. Just let me talk and hear me. And don't roll your eyes, look at the ground, or stare at your phone.
I'm actually looking at Jim over my monitor.
Hear me. Hear me. Validate that I'm speaking something that has some importance. And I know it's not important to you, but it is important to me.
Right.
So let's work with that. You know what? And I believe in you. And I know that you can do this, because if you have an inspiration in your heart, God would not have put it there without giving you the ability to do it.
Amen.
Yes. It's going to get there, but you have the ability. So let's get it done. If you have some sort of inspiration in you and you just know that there's something more to do, and you're sitting at your desk or at the kitchen counter sobbing, and you know that there's something more, then you owe it to yourself to do something more and find somebody to help you. And when you hire help and do that, this is where you make quantum leaps. This is where you find the law of attraction. This is where you do that manifestation thing. All of those catchphrases that people don't understand. When you're doing the thing that you love doing, you don't even know it's work. I mean, Jim, when you were acting and on stage, did you even know that it was work?
On a very superficial level,
when he was
it was
learning his lines at the beginning,
But when you're
when
up
he's
there
up there,
and doing it, it's like, this isn't work. This is ecstasy for me. This is,
he just glowed. He glowed.
yeah, it's like I want to do it full time all the time. I mean, there's not that kind of opportunity available here, but there's more that I could be doing.
Right. But you did something. And when you were taking acting classes or comedy classes and you were investing in yourself, it wasn't work.
No.
It was improving your act, your trade.
It was an investment in myself. And plus, on a side note, half the reason you take these classes isn't to necessarily learn the acting, although that's certainly important, but you also get a chance to network. Every acting gig I got in Vegas was a result of me networking with some of the improv actors Melanie worked with and people in my acting class, and that led to 90% of my gigs.
You know, it's amazing how in my career, and this is something you and I have been batting around for a bit as you were making the change and you started picking my brain, how many other speakers I've run into that would say, oh, I didn't need to join Toastmasters or the National Speaking Association. I've already got that talent. And I was doing it all. I was like taking every class I could, talking to every speaker I could, trying to learn as much. I mean, when I found somebody who was successful, I dove under their wings so fast they didn't even know I was there half the time. And
I can think of a few names.
exactly. And a couple that are dearly departed. And the valuable
Mhm.
advice I got, even secondhand, even when they're like, okay, kid, go do the thing. And then I look at all the people that, were saying, well, oh, I guess I could take this class, but I'm not really into it. Oh, I've been thinking about writing a book. I know I can do that. It's like, but they didn't. I've published 5 books. I've traveled the world. I've been up on big stages. I've gotten, the money that you dream of. I've done all that. And it's not because I was any more talented than them. In fact, I had a lot more hurdles to overcome. I'm not that bright. I'm not that good looking. I'm not small. I don't have a great figure, but I'm creative and I'm scrappy. I couldn't pay. I've got this fidget thing that I'm playing with. I need to remember to put it down if I put my hands up. It's just I'm little miss fidgety. But I couldn't pay somebody to edit my book or do my cover art or do my website. I had to learn how to do all of that myself. And a lot of people, that's what stops them. Well, if I can't right this minute hire somebody to do that, then I'm not going to. It's like, well, no, you've got to get past that to where you can hire the gardener and the nanny and all of that. And then there's no shame in that because that's what you worked toward. But until then, you can't say, well, unless I do this. I mean, I've actually met people who were my size and even smaller who's like, well, I can't even think about getting on stage until I lose weight. Well, tell that to Lizzo, okay? Tell that to Oprah.
Exactly.
That is an
It's a lame
excuse.
It's
Or
lame
I've got everything's got to be perfectly lined up. It's like, no, because the lessons you learn on the way and the things that you overcome on the way is what get you there.
You're
And so
not
it
likely to
frustrates
get there
me.
if you don't have an
Yeah,
obstacle,
and what
or not
frustrates me is
stay
when
there.
people
if you
use
do this
those
without
as an
obstacle.
excuse not to try.
Right.
And so it seems to me like you found that part of yourself where you're like, yeah, I've been sitting here and letting life happen to me.
Yeah.
And how quick was the switch? I mean, did you walk in and say, take this job and shove it, or did you build toward it? What did you do?
I kept my job as long as possible, but I started making different decisions at my job. So at the time that I was having my breakdown, the company I was working for was going through a merger.
Oh,
And
that's right. I remember the company you're working for. We won't name them here.
right. So one day I got a phone call from the company, another company that we worked with, that big company, it's calling my company. And this person said to me, well, who is going to, now that this big change is going to happen, who's going to take care of this? And I said, I am. I didn't ask. There was nobody around. I didn't even think. I just said it out loud. What do you want? I'm going to do that. And the answer was, that would be awesome. I'd rather work with you than that person.
Nice.
Fabulous. So I'm going to do that. And then.
And you know what? People don't do that in business. They don't.
They don't.
When they're like, who's
they
going to pick this up? Everybody's like,
they don't
looking
take
around,
the
not
reins. They
making eye
wait.
contact.
They wait for the reins to be handed to them.
Exactly. People don't make decisions, and decision making is a learned skill. You have to be able to make decisions. You have to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to do this thing. So I just started saying, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. I started traveling internationally. I started traveling domestically. I started running meetings.
You started living, Marnye. You
I
started living.
So I was doing this job, and all of a sudden it was kind of like, bang, I got a great big hit on my paycheck. That was awesome. And then I got another big hit on my paycheck. And it worked out for the best when I finally said, you know what, I need to quit being insecure and afraid of what could happen. And I need to start embracing what can happen, what I'm going to create. And you know what, I made a lot of mistakes. I got admonished a few times. And when I got admonished, man, I really got admonished. And it was okay. I just took it. It was a learning experience, and we're just going to move on. So it was learning to not be so insecure about the what ifs and to just say, fuck it, whatever. And we're just going to go.
There goes YouTube. No, you're fine.
So sorry. Anyway, so I just had to learn to do that, and it was okay. I found the relationship that I'm in now. This is kind of a big deal. We're supposed to all know if we're in love, we automatically know what they want, and we're going to be perfect and wonderful, and the birds are going to sing, and the flowers are going to bloom, and everything is going to be perfect. And you know what? It doesn't. I mean, it's all screwed up. No. So this is the biggest thing that I learned. And so if you take nothing else from this, this is what I'm going to tell you. Ask, just ask. Do you like Brussels sprouts? Don't assume they do or don't. Just ask the damn question. What side of the bed do you want to sleep on? Just ask the damn question.
So true.
You know,
So
quit
true.
trying to read their mind and don't assume that they're going to read your mind. You're going to just walk up and say, my birthday is in 2 weeks and I want to go to dinner at this place and I want to have this wine. And then we can come home and we can talk about Sons of Anarchy. I don't care, but this is what I get for my birthday. Okay. Give them a clue.
And you know what? When we're talking about inner men and women relationships, men do not get subtle hints. They don't.
No.
My subtle hint is if the water bottle needs to be refilled, he wakes up and trips over it on the way to the bathroom. If I just flat out said, okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm getting an Easter basket and it's going to be awesome. And he rocked the Easter basket, you know, and I'm very, I'm like, oh, look, it's Mother's Day. I was like, so what am I getting for Mother's Day?
Exactly. I mean, it better be breakfast or lunch or croissants or something.
Yeah. Oh, I got tulips.
Yay. I love tulips.
And I'm not even a mother. I'm a dog and cat mom, but it's, I tell them every year we joke.
Figure to your students.
Yeah, well, that's true. My students.
In a way.
We joke. Okay, that's another thing I want to talk about is, so it sounds to me like you built a job that you found fulfillment in as you were making this journey. And if there's one thing I've learned and I've seen in other people is we have this wish, we have this desire, sometimes this goal. And I think systems work better than goals. Little Scott Adams thrown in there for you. But what happens when you are working toward what you think is your ultimate bliss and it turns out it looks completely different than what you envisioned, and then you find yourself in a happier place than you ever thought possible? I know this happened to me. If somebody would have told me that I would be learning calculus in my 50s, I would have laughed in their face. And, you know, teaching kids from across the nation, I would have thought that they were insane because I don't even like kids. And I love what I do. And I just kind of fell face forward into it. Mm-hmm. So it sounds to me, it kind of happened to you that way. Have you seen that happen with your clients?
To date, the clients that I've been working with have been on a specific career trajectory and they got stuck, but they continued to move forward. Okay, so there's a woman in Toronto. She's an oncology nurse. She needed to quit her present job, quit the current job. She took some time off, stumbled around, had a big cancer scare, had to move through that. And so a lot of my work was just to listen to her. She didn't need me to tell her what to do. She just needed someone to hear her. That was it. Mm-hmm. And then, but now today, she has a completely different nursing job. She's gone back to walking the floor, but now she has started her own coaching business as a nurse, just working with people in a similar situation that need a nurse to help them get to the next place. And that's become her thing. What most people need from a coach is somebody to help them get past the fear of doing the thing that they want to do.
Yes.
Getting past that insecurity, growing the confidence. I don't care what it is. I don't know. Do you want to spin cotton candy for a living? Do it. But what's the thing that's holding you back? Why aren't you living that life now? Let's move forward. So we're going to change. These are all those little words. You know, we're going to change our energy from being this person to being this person. This is the person that you know how to be. This is the person that you see in the mirror. I want you to make a committed decision, and it's not an easy thing to do, that you're going to see just this person in the mirror. And this is what you want to be. And so you're going to start acting like that person right now, right today. And it's going to take some work because it's all unfamiliar. And so you have to rewrite the code that's in your brain to do the thing that you want to do, to be the person that you want to be. And that's the bulk of it. I don't care what it is. Let's get past the insecurity. And most people just need to be told that they can do it. Most of us went to school and we learned a whole bunch of stuff, but nobody told us how to apply the information.
Right. Or to gather our different skills. I mean, I think the only reason I'm doing what I'm doing, I have a degree in accounting. I wanted to be a veterinarian. Life stuff happened and all these different things. And I have all these different weird skills that I acquired. And somehow they all just kind of bunched up. And it's like, wait, this works now.
Right.
And recognizing that, have you ever had even either yourself or with someone you've worked with where they had that moment where they gave themselves permission? Because it sounds like that's kind of what we need to do. It's like you were saying that they're stuck and they've got to allow themselves to become who they want to be, where they actually have that moment where they give themselves permission and it just wrecks them. They just like burst into tears and then move on from that? Or do you find that it's a slow progression?
I haven't had anybody just fall apart like that for sure. I have, but
Yeah.
that's between me and my bathroom mirror.
Yeah.
I
So
can
maybe
give
they
you,
haven't told you about it. Maybe it just
yeah,
happened on their
yeah,
own
yeah, yeah.
time. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. When you make a committed decision to yourself, then everything else becomes easy because now you just do that thing because you no longer are this other person. So let's pick on smoking. Oh, I've never been a smoker, so it's kind of a
Yeah,
weak,
me either.
weak description, but we can go with it.
It's
So,
what a lot of people can understand. I don't get it.
yeah.
Let's put
So,
sticks in our face and light them on fire. It doesn't sound like fun to me,
right,
but
right. So, okay, so you're a smoker, and now you've decided you're not going to smoke. So now you've decided that you're not going to smoke. So it's just not even a question. Why would you go light up a cigarette? Because, well, I'm not a smoker. So it just doesn't enter my mind. And that's the point I want you to get to. From this thing where you think you have to do it all the time because that's what you see in your face, see in your mind, to, I really just don't do that. So I don't even need to think about it. It's just not even in my wheelhouse. I know a woman, and I will be very careful in this regard. I know a woman who became very, very successful, and she was very overweight, very obese. And at the time that she was developing this monumental success, and I mean monumental success, she was hell bent to be fat. She was just going to prove to the world that she was going to be
so
fat
that
and she could be
became her
successful.
thing.
That became her thing.
Uh,
Until Mother Nature stepped in and said, you're in the hospital for 3 weeks. And by the way, you're going to lose part of a lung.
ew.
So she had to have a heart to heart with herself that she could quit fighting herself and trying to prove to the world and to everyone else that she was going to be fat and successful to be her. She could quit battling herself to be fat and just start being the person that was in her mind, successful, healthy, living the life that she wants to live, inspiring the people that she wants to inspire. And when she made that decision, the decision was done. It was all over. She didn't need to fight herself. She didn't need to stumble on it. She decided to give up drinking. She talked about going out to dinner, and everybody else was ordering a cocktail. So she ordered one too. And when it came, she's like, you know what? But I don't drink anymore. I'm a non-drinker. I just don't do that. So I don't need this. The decision was done. And so the fight was over. Is it perfect? No. Are there ups and downs? Absolutely. Habits are hard to break. And some people, you get into a group of people and that's what you all do. Those habits are hard to break. So maybe in the shedding of things, it's like going on a diet. You give up certain foods, you give up certain things, and you give up certain people. It doesn't have to be forever, but it is going to be for a while. So this woman just changed her thought process to, I'm just not a drinker. That's just not who I am. And I go for a walk every morning. And so she takes a walk every morning and she videotapes her feet every morning. And every morning it shows up on Instagram.
She videotapes her feet.
Walking.
So I know there's a whole station for that out there.
But she's doing the thing. It was no longer a challenge when she quit fighting herself and the decision was done. Did she have some tearful moments? I'm sure of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm absolutely sure of it. You land your ass and you land in the hospital for 3 weeks and lose part of a lung. Yeah, that's a big thing.
That is a big thing.
That's a big thing. But she made this decision. And when she quit fighting herself and just started allowing herself to be and to embrace who she was in her mind and in her spirit, the rest of it became easier and she just started moving forward. She's lost a ton of weight.
Mm.
She will never be a size 5, and it doesn't matter. She looks good, she's healthy, she's
Mhm.
strong, and she's living the life that is in her within her. She's
Mhm.
being that person. That's what we all need to strive to. I
Yeah.
don't ask people to come to me with a goal. I ask people to
Oh,
come to me with a desire
the desire. Yeah.
for something more. We can worry about the goal later. But right now, we just need to start changing things and start moving in a new direction. And when you start doing that, your goal is going to start to bubble up and it's going to start to become very evident. What's the thing that you're thinking about all of the time? Because
Mhm.
that's where all of your
That's
energy
where
is
you
going.
start. Exactly.
That's what you're going to
The
accomplish.
positive thing that you're thinking about all the time, not
Yeah.
the end of the
Right, right.
world, not
No,
the
no, no.
yeah.
What is the thing that just you get up every morning and you go, yeah, that's going to be it. That's going to be it. That's what I'm doing. And the why. I want to make millions of dollars. Okay, that's a good thing, but that might be a byproduct because what are you going to do with the millions of dollars? Roll around in it?
And
Or
how many millionaires are miserable?
exactly.
They're
Are you
out there.
looking to roll around in money? Are you looking for passive income? Are you looking to leave a legacy? Are you wanting to build a park in the neighborhood? Are you wanting to contribute to your local church so that your name lives on? Do you want to leave something for your kids? Do you want to pay for their college education? What is it? Because money just gives you options. Money is just a tool.
Mhm.
Money is nothing more than energy. So what's the
Yeah.
energy that you want to put out there? What's the energy that you want to create? Mother Teresa didn't have a lot of energy, have a lot of money, but she had energy, she had
Mhm.
influence and power
Right.
that
Yeah.
still stands.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A little
Uh,
Hungarian nun
yeah.
feeding people who were starving, and she
Yeah.
said, somebody needs to take care of
Diseased.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not?
And that took bravery
It
that
did.
Oh my
Big
God.
time.
beyond belief, you know?
Right. Right. She had this guy in house, God, and he was her be all end all. And that's the person she put her faith in. And he gave her the courage and the strength to say, I'm behind you. Remember that wingman I talked about a while ago?
Uh-huh.
He
Right.
had one, an
Yeah.
amazing wingman.
Best you
I
can
mean,
get.
yeah. I mean,
About as
what
good
more
as
do
they
you
get,
want?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Who's standing next to you? Who's helping you to get through these things? Ask the questions. It's okay not to know the answers. It's okay to ask for help. Nobody who's created anything of significance has done it alone. Elon Musk does not know how to build a car. Henry Ford didn't know how to build a car. They
Right.
brought people together to be on
Mhm.
their team who could do the thing that they wanted to do.
Otherwise, the
Washington
V8 never would have existed.
Exactly.
Mhm.
George Washington wasn't the smartest man in the boat, but he was the guy that was charismatic enough to bring smarter people to him and
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
organize them to do the thing that he wanted to do.
Yeah.
You don't have to know everything. And it would be really helpful if you didn't know everything because then you can learn something. I don't know how to do my taxes. I hire that out.
Mhm.
I don't know how to do this thing. I bring somebody to me. Masterminding, people are like, oh no, I don't want to work with a group of people. They might steal my ideas and I don't know. But you know what? If you're in a group of people, you should be the stupidest one in the room because you want people who are already so successful. They don't want what you have. They want you to catch up to where they are.
Right.
Exactly.
They're going to support you. They're going to bring you forward. This is masterminding, folks. Who do you know? Start talking, start taking opportunities. That's what I started doing. That's what I want you to do. Start taking the opportunities that come your way. Right this minute, I'm in this thing where I am saying yes to everything. Like that Jim Carrey movie, Say Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Right.
I applied to be in a magazine for 40 over 40, and she said yes. Um, I got
Cool.
an invitation to apply to the Great American Baking Show.
Wow. So your cookies are actually taking you places. Wow.
My cookies are
Send
really
us
good.
some. No, wait, I can't do that.
Well, we'll give you the PO box offline.
So the Great American Baking Show thing, it was kind of like, oh my gosh, now what do I do? Joining Toastmasters, joining this networking group or that networking group. You don't have to commit to anything for the rest of your life, but try it for a while. And a lot of people, my mother, this is her big crime. She doesn't join any groups because she might have to do it forever. You don't have to do it forever, but
No.
try it and see what you get out of it.
That's
If
how I
it's-
got my stepson to try different foods, because his dad was meat and potatoes and he was chicken nuggets boy. And
Yeah.
I was like, no, you don't have to like it, but you've got to try it. And by the time I only had that kid for a year, and he was eating sushi and calamari and all kinds of stuff, because I'm like, you don't have to like it. Just try it. He's like, I don't want bubble tea. That sounds gross. I'm like, just try it.
Yeah.
Favorite thing in the whole wide world. And it's the same way with jobs. I mean, like I said, if somebody would have told me I was going to be learning calculus in my 50s, I would have laughed in their face. And I tried it and like, okay, don't particularly like trig. Calculus is okay, but now I'm learning physics. And it's because of my kids. It's because of the motivation and wanting to be. And that's the other thing that people forget. And every single person you've mentioned so far, when they found their bliss, it wasn't in service of themselves. They took care of themselves, they motivated themselves, but ultimately where they found their joy was in service to others. Every single person that you've mentioned, your coaches, your motivational speakers, your nurse, everybody. And I think that's the thing that we miss is, yes, we have got to take care of ourselves first.
Yeah.
But it's in service to others that we find our joy.
When you say in service to others, I want to be clear. This is a question I have run into time and time again. It doesn't mean that you are ignoring yourself
No.
to abject poverty and you are only waiting on people.
Not a doormat, not a doormat. And that's
your
the thing.
Service to others is to
Exactly.
lead by example.
Exactly.
And to give to yourself so that you are so full you can give to others.
Exactly.
Money does two things in the world. It gives you options and it gives you the ability to give other people options as well. You can do with it what you want. And when you start treating yourself with respect, other people are going to treat you with respect. Oprah says it all the time. People will treat you exactly as you allow them to treat you. So you better just like step up to that plate and make sure that you are being the person you want to be and you expect to be treated in return. And if somebody wants to call you an old hag or pushy, bossy, whatever it is, move on. That is on them.
Yeah.
Not on you.
Not on you. And always, whenever somebody says something mean or awful about me, I always have to take a step back and think, consider the source.
Well, yeah. And it's their mirror. They are what bothers them about you is what they see in themselves. It's that mirror. And so maybe there's something within them that needs to be adjusted.
Yeah.
So
and you can't do it for them.
You can't. On that note, I was reading a book just the other day, Rhonda Byrne's The Greatest Secret. And whether you like her or not, she's the one that produced The Secret, the original movie, The Secret, which was very motivational and inspiring to lots and lots of people. She's got this follow-on book, and I've really enjoyed it because she has brought together excerpts from a bunch of other books that are very enlightening. And one of the things that I got out of it not too long ago, and even Chris found it very enlightening, is if a feeling or an old memory is bubbling up inside of you, that means that your body and your mind are ready to let it go. So those days where you're driving down the road and you see a blue Honda go by and all of a sudden you're ruminating on a time in high school when Sally Smith called you a nasty name and hurt your feelings because she was a mean girl and you cried, or you weren't the nicest person that you could have been to the new kid in school. And all of a sudden this is coming to your memory because some spontaneous thing brought it to your attention. It means that your mind is ready to let that go. It means that it's time for you to acknowledge that feeling, embrace it, rework it maybe once, maybe twice. You don't get to live there, and let it go. And the more practice that you employ of acknowledging, feeling, and letting go, the better you will get at it. And the less baggage you have to carry around.
That's so funny. Just yesterday with one of my students, I was telling him, okay, as you start practicing these concepts, because he had math anxiety off the charts, like, okay, we're going to make this as easy as we can. And I said, what's going to happen is you're going to wake up in the middle of the night and go, why did I just have a dream about algebra? And I told him that's your brain getting it.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly natural. And that should be a moment of celebration because people struggle against it. And I have this whole story I tell them about riptides and everything growing up in Washington and how if you struggle against it being pulled out to sea instead of swimming parallel to shore. You'll just get pulled further and further out. But when you relax and swim parallel to shore, I know that's counterintuitive, but eventually you'll get out of the riptide and then you can swim back to shore. And math is the same way, and coaching, I'm sure, is the same way. And pretty much every choice we make, we're struggling against something instead of going with something. And that's a hard mindset to get out of. I struggle with it every day.
Oh,
And I know Jim does too.
We all
Yeah.
do. We all do. It's the allowing. It's just let it happen. It's okay to have feelings, and it's okay to have negative feelings. We don't have to be happy all the time. We have to allow
But plus,
ourselves
how would
to
we
feel
know
and
we
let
were
it
happy?
go.
How would we know we were
have
happy
nothing
if
to
there's no contrast?
with. Exactly.
Okay, now I want to back up just a little bit because you were talking about wealth, and I had noticed that you had recently offered a three-part course. I just brushed my teeth and I can't do a thing with them. A 3-part course in wealth confidence, and I was intrigued by that phrase. I was wondering if you could. This isn't a total dogleg because you did kind of bring up wealth a little bit. So what does wealth confidence mean? Because I'm pretty sure I'm really inconfident in that.
No. I bet you aren't. I bet you aren't, and you just don't know it. So let's reframe some of your thoughts.
Okay.
Let's just take it from a different angle.
Coach me harder, mommy. Coach me harder.
One of the things a coach does is look at something from outside your perspective.
Okay.
Pete Carroll is the coach of the Seahawks. He's not throwing the ball. He's on the sidelines going, you need to do this and you need to do that, because he's looking at it from an outside. And he spends 90% of his time making sure that those boys have their head on straight and that they are focused on the end goal, which is the game. So wealth is the game. It's the end goal. What does that look like to you? I don't care what it is. What you see as your wealth is what you need. Is that a relationship? Is that physical fitness? Is it spiritual? Is it monetary? Is it friends and family? What is it that you want to have wealth? What does that look like? And
so
then
we're not just talking money and investment like your friend. We're talking
no,
wealth as in your entire.
What is it that inspires you? And you need to take these things like one at a time. Oh, by the way, because you cannot make a complete overhaul of who you are without being totally overwhelmed. One, your brain won't take it. And the only time that happens is when you receive some sort of an emotional impact. And usually it's a bad day. Remember the woman who was really, really successful because she was really fat? And then Mother Nature knocked her down to her knees, took part of her lung, and said, you're going to need to rethink this. She had an emotional impact that really made that decision making super, super simple. Right? You don't need to be there. What you need to do is you need to decide what's really important to you. Is that the relationship with your partner? I mean, that's very important to me. Chris and I work on our relationship. We like each other, so it's not a lot of work. It's important to both of us.
Well, I like Jim, but boy, he is a lot of work.
I'm so sorry.
No, I love this though, because I felt like you were giving us permission to focus on one thing at a time, because that is not what society tells us, and that's not what a lot of the self-help. It's like you got to do it all at once. You got to do the diet and do the exercise and do the, cut this out of your life and focus on this and write so many words a day and all of this at once. And it seems to me, like you said, your brain can't take it. It's overwhelmed.
It is.
And I love that you give permission to focus on, the one thing that's going to get you to the next step. And then you can, once that's ingrained and that's just natural, go to the next step. One of my, unfortunately, he's gone now, but one of my dearest mentors, Mr. John Kindy, once said that everybody wants to focus on the things that they don't do well, and they try to want to make those better, and they want to focus on getting better at the things they don't do well. He said, no, you find the thing that you're best at, and you get better at it until you're so good at it that all the rest of the stuff doesn't matter, because there's always going to be someone else who's good at that thing that you're not good at.
Hiring the team.
And there we go. Full circle, back to the nanny. Let's do this.
Do it.
I am here but to serve, Marnye. Can you believe we've been talking for an hour already? My goodness, you are such a joy, and I am
Very.
so glad that we were able to bring you on our show. You are welcome back anytime.
Thank
I
you.
know
I would
you've
love
got
that.
a lot of irons in the fire. I'm sure there's all kinds of fun things forthcoming, and I would very much like to have you back on the show again.
I would love to.
If you'd be kind enough to repeat all of your details so that our listeners
Absolutely.
can find you again, we will also have them on our website. And I'm going to call this a wrap because my brain is full. I need to go think on
Good.
things that you said. So this has
Good.
been a lot of fun.
A
I
lot
want
to
you to
think
be
about.
motivated. I want you to be inspired. And I want your listeners to go, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can take this one step at a time. That's the goal. Just start listening to who you want to be in a positive way and start doing that. Become that person today. Start acting like the generous person that you are, or start acting like the caring person that you think you want to be, or start acting like the baker or the butcher or the candlestick maker. Whatever that is, do that now and do it happily,
Yeah.
because then the rest of it's so easy. Okay, everybody, my name is Marnie, and you can find me at Envision Results on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Envision Results. And I would be more than happy to talk with you about getting your results.